In all-time history, there is no other way. Let me tell you something. In the words of the great Mikey Baranici, history writes itself. And this episode of the Reddcast goes down in all-time history as one of the greatest podcast episodes ever. My friends, the current showrunner of Arizona, future showrunner of wherever he chooses to go, reigning from the greatest state in the union that is New Jersey, the legendary Tommy Toole.
Nothing like stars from a paradise. Don't care cause there's magic in the air tonight. Pretty girl in my ear, she the rarest type. Heaven on earth is right here tonight. Oh, I'm in the dream state. I'm in the dream state.
Let's go.
How are you doing, brother?
I am
All right?
honored to be here, to be honest.
Dude,
I'm
this
excited.
this is pretty electric because I had thought, two thoughts I had. I thought the first time we were going to see each other really was in Arizona because if you remember, we were talking, I moved to California with Will.
Yeah, no, I remember you moving to LA with Will, so
And I was
I remember us chatting.
Yeah. And
Even if I came over there too, so.
Yeah, it would have been, that's where I thought. I was like, all right, I'm going to try to get to a show. Quick flight, go right over there and check one out. My second thought was, all right, if he's back home, now that I'm in Jersey, probably be at Condon's, grabbing a workout.
Yeah, no, every time I come home, I hit you up. I see if we can link up. So it's like, I know I was here for a wedding in April and I hit you up. I know that didn't work out, but here we are.
And now we're locked in, and the first time we're seeing each other in a long time,
Yes.
the Reddcast, baby.
Perfect timing.
Dude, there's no other
Perfect
way.
thing to do too.
So how's everything been? I mean, you're out in Arizona right now, right?
Yeah, I live in Scottsdale. Everything's good. We're in the dead of the summer, trying to get through it. So, yeah, just kind of put my head down, trying to get to work and figure some stuff out. So,
Yeah, well,
I'm
I mean,
excited.
we could start with literally, you just announced massive festival,
yeah.
Super Unnatural.
Yeah, my first Arizona festival. They did the first one was last year. So, yeah, I'm super excited. I got the call for that or the text for that. And it was funny. We were just talking. I was on the beach. I hadn't known the lineup. I already knew I was playing. Didn't know the lineup. And then like 30 minutes before, I saw the artwork and I was like, damn, this is a massive lineup. Didn't expect to be on the main flyer either because a lot of times the support acts aren't on there. And had my name on there. So that juiced me up. My whole family was on the beach. We were pumped.
Dude, I mean, that lineup is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, what they got? Chris Lake, we got Martinez Brothers legends.
Mochok, Dombreski, Hugel, Aluna's on there. I know Joaquin, one of their boys, is on there.
Oh,
so,
dude, Joaquin is a legend.
or
brother.
Joaquin.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's a fun 2 days too. It's right around Halloween. Everyone's dressed up and yeah, just one of those things I'm super excited for.
And if they want the electricity off the Richter scale, they made the right move
Yes.
and added Tommy Toole on that bad boy, baby.
Opening
Let's
slot,
go. So I guess I want to dive into the music, obviously, because it's so huge, but take it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, we grew up together. Your family in Manasquan, I was in Brielle. And we all played baseball, which was really the commonality that linked everybody.
Exactly.
I think Tyler, your oldest brother, was a senior when I was a freshman. I think you were a freshman when I was a senior?
Yeah, I was just talking about that actually. Yeah, that's kind of how it happened, just hanging out. I mean, mutual through baseball. I think I knew you from years back, from like Little League almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, we started, I think I made varsity as a freshman and then we started hanging out, doing stupid shit.
Dude, we did it.
did some stupid shit,
we
but
had a squad, dude.
It was fun.
What do we have? It was you. Well, Terrence was in there, obviously.
Yeah.
You, Matty Forrest were the two freshmen of the group, right?
Yes.
Because you guys were close.
Yes.
And then we had Skylar, Terrence, myself, Alejandro,
Yeah.
amongst a couple of others. Pat Schmidt was in there real quick with the Steesmeisters. We had the
Of course.
Steesmeisters. And we had those videos where we were in search of the Tommy Toole, the legendary Tommy Toole.
We were in search of the Tommy Toole. I was doing some funky, weird shit. That's good times to look back on, young and dumb.
I think people like baseball, obviously to this day, we just mentioned it, Condon's, like that unified everybody. Like everybody
yeah.
has been training there for so long. And we used to play together. And then also when I got old enough, I was one of the counselors at the camp. And I was that all the way up until I think 2 years ago. And then I finally retired. But who knows? Might make another appearance. But like through that, like even still now, when you come home, you go and you work out there. And that's like a place where everybody can go and, you know, relink.
Yeah, and for the longest time, I know even like my dad and him were doing lessons out of the same building.
Yep.
So I mean, through that, through playing, and then like, you know, even beyond that, you know, my younger brothers are around and playing. So it's
Studs.
It's just one of those things where, I mean, it's similar to anything you do. Like you just meet people through the mutual things or the common ground that you're doing, and you know, depending on who you meet, how long you stay friends or how long you stay close, that's how it usually goes. So
Yeah, and I think this area too, like everybody kind of, if you know, even we just did the pod with Bobby down in Miami. I mean, we've stayed in touch with everybody. I mean, obviously we hung out a lot in high school, all the time. And yeah, your dad and Mike coaching together. That's right. I mean, dude, the Toole bloodline. It's just all. I mean, your brother right now at Villanova.
Yeah, stud at Villanova.
Dude.
He's just coming out of freshman year. Had a great first like 25 games before he got hurt. So yeah, looking forward to seeing him play again this year. So
dude, he had the spot. He was starting.
Yes, starting second base. Yeah,
Stud.
He's
dude.
the man,
bro.
so.
He was in there getting where I walked in. I saw him. I said, no other way. And then what are we? 3 weeks later, I get the picture from you at Condon's working out. I was like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, with him too. So
yeah, dude, they get after it, brother. And he had good for him because he had such a good first season. You know, start hot like that.
Yeah, of course. And he actually went to high school out in California and then came back east. And yeah, he's just a hard worker. He's a stud. So
The whole fam. Well, dude, you were a stud. So
Hey.
what I remember last is obviously I graduated, and then I think it was the next year where you had a crazy run in the playoffs, like a whole good season, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But then the playoffs, you went off. Were you trying to play baseball after high school, or what was the plan?
So I played basketball obviously too, but I went on a couple visits, a couple runs with a couple D2 schools in basketball. Then, you know, baseball season comes around, I'm locked into that. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do until like maybe the middle of baseball season where I was like, yeah, I think I want to play baseball in college.
Yeah.
And then originally I was going to go to Brookdale, just do 2 years there and play baseball because they have a decent program there, which, you know, it's always been there. And no, ended up getting recruited for St. Peter's in Jersey City.
Yes,
and then,
that's right.
Ended up going there. So
Yeah, well,
that was the start of my college career.
dude, taking it back to the basketball, I totally forgot about this, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Stallion basketball player. bro.
Basketball was fun. Basketball in high school is one of those things where it was just like, especially at Manasquan, it was such a good tradition, and you know the fans, you know, make it fun. The gym's packed, stuff like that. All that high energy shit. I'm like attached to. I'm like an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
I like performing in front of people, so it makes sense, kind of, you know, DJing in front of people and performing. So
And you guys were good, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
yeah, we had a couple. We had my sophomore, junior, and senior year. We were pretty good. We came up short in both the shore and the states, but
Deep runs,
yeah.
though. Deep
runs.
dude.
Yeah, those are good times to look back on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially like you said, the basketball. There's so much history there. I mean, you had the whole legacy before blue and gray. I mean, come on now,
Exactly.
we're dialed in.
I mean, the whole school too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. So then you go and you play baseball, St. Peter's.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where does the switch to Arizona happen? Because if I'm not mistaken, you went to Arizona for college as well.
Yeah, so just playing baseball, you know, we were okay, but like never, you know, our record showed us that, you know, we were just not that, you know, we weren't winning. So, you know, that takes a toll. I mean, baseball teaches a lot about failure, but, you know, I just kind of fell out of love with baseball and came to like a standstill with it, and made the decision to leave. You know, I came back home, didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was actually internshipping with Bobby's dad, and yeah, made the decision to start to work for him. And then that whole next year, I kind of spent my year working every day and then visiting my friends at college. So made a few visits to ASU, which was unbelievable at the time, just like young and having fun. And then ended up coming back, or Bobby came back for winter break, and we were doing something for work, and he was like, yo, you should come out for spring break. Went out for spring break in March, and then I never left. So That's kind of how the switch happened.
I mean, once you get a taste of that energy out there, and at that point, that was around what, sophomore, junior year?
Yeah, so that gap year I took was my junior year of college. So officially, my first year at ASU was my junior year. But yeah, that was just kind of right into the chaos, right into the party scene, and yeah, that's another period of time in my life was just so fucking fun.
Well, at that point, Bobby was running the show.
Yes.
I mean, he always runs the show wherever he goes, but I mean, he was I think he was president of his fraternity, or he was
I think he was doing something social.
Yeah, something like that, the head chair, whatever, CEO, whatever, and he was absolutely running it. I mean, since he went there, I've seen the videos. I mean, it looked electric from the beginning. Then you get out there, I'm like, this is double the lightning, double the electricity.
It was so fun.
And so, I mean, you walk in, Bobby and you are obviously very close. Shout out to those boys, $1 million on DJ Lovers Club.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is an incredible milestone.
Him and Bill, man, they're hard workers. They get after. Bill is so dialed in.
Yeah,
like
Bobby is too. If Bobby's set on something,
dude,
that's all he's doing. So.
Dude, both of them are just locked in, and they live with Eddie. Who are you friends with Eddie?
Oh yeah, I mean I've known Eddie since we were in like 6th grade. So yeah, Eddie's the man too, and he's got his own lane that he's in. So. He's killing it.
Across the board, just killing it. So you go out there. I mean, Bobby's running the show. You are inherently running the show as soon as you step foot on campus, and you guys are just having a time. Now, when does the music start?
Yeah, so, very grateful for those group of guys. I actually, music goes way back, obviously, because, I grew up listening to a ton of different music. My mom's got a different music taste than my dad. I come from a family of 8, so... My older brother has a certain music taste, my sisters. So I grew up listening to a ton of different music. Obviously, I didn't really know what my favorite type of music was for so long. But as far back as I can remember, I had, LimeWire on my computer. I'm ripping tracks, sitting on my computer, singing along. So, it goes way back to that. But in the future, like starting to get into the music industry scene and the show scene, that kind of starts in college. Just being in the party scene and, Arizona was throwing shows and me and my friends would go, take it all in. And it kind of just turned into, wanting to learn how to DJ. I didn't actually want to learn how to DJ until the last year of my senior year at ASU. I had a friend teach me, my friend Kyle. And, I just started to kind of be a bedroom DJ and teach myself. And next thing you know, I'm trying to get local gigs, and it's turned into what it is now. So,
well, I remember the first time I saw a video of you behind the DJ booth, or in the DJ booth behind the board playing, and I was like, it just makes sense. Like, I almost felt like it was all along, like this was a thing. I was like, I wonder how long he's been doing this, because it just makes sense that he would be back there leading the charge, controlling the room with the energy, like you said.
Of course.
Energy, adrenaline junkie. Like, it's just, it makes a lot of sense. And then obviously seeing the videos, listening to the sound. I mean, some of the mixes you have on SoundCloud and whatnot. I mean, it's electric.
Yeah, that's kind of where it started too. I just started to put mixes together, kind of just basically teach myself or show myself like what I could kind of put together, and then listen back to it, give yourself criticism, you find new music, stuff like that. So like, as I started to put these mixes out, I gained a little confidence. Then COVID came along. That gave me some time to kind of sit in my bedroom, just try to get better. I went Instagram Live a few times during those crazy times. So coming out of that, I kind of had like this new confidence where, I got connected with a few people throwing local events, and then that's where it really started. And then actually not for like, a year or maybe 2 did I start like actually playing events. So it's been a little bit of a process. It's just one of those things that I can't see myself doing anything else right now. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, I mean, like I said, it just makes sense. The energy is there at all times. And so you didn't play any shows in college, like while you were learning that first year?
No. So yeah, that last semester of my senior year, I didn't play any shows. No, we were promoting at the time. So we were promoting for all the clubs in Arizona. So that was kind of like my introduction to like the social scene and, like booking DJs at clubs, like seeing how that kind of operated. So, I'd see people up there that I knew DJing, and I was like, I think I can do this. I want to learn how to do this. So, it's also inspiring. You go to shows, and you just take in like the energy of the crowd. Like even when you're in the crowd, it's just like one of those things where like, it's just catches you. So
was at the time, who was like your big influences and who was big in the scene at that time?
Big in the scene. I remember some of my first shows. Chris Lake has been just that kind of like my favorite since I saw him for the first time. Even before I saw him and like we were listening to music at parties or whatever. He's been my favorite for so long. Fisher was exploding at the time. So that was obviously huge shows to go to. I remember Chami being pretty big, the Chami and Mala time. But even before that, like the Avicii period, that's when like I really started listening to like more dance music. So like even from beyond going to shows Arizona. So I have some memories with like Bobby's older brother Bill. Like him and his friends are all high energy, listening to their music, listening to that dance music at the time. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of influences that come along with it.
Yeah, well, it's cool to think now, like, Chris Lake and Fisher playing together like that. And again, back then, both just coming up in the game like that. And then, I mean, they were already established. But, dude, Chris Lake never misses.
No, not in my eyes. I'm a little bit of I'm a little biased because he's my favorite. But, even taking people to see him for the first time, or like my brother just went and saw him for the first time. And, everyone says the same thing. He's the king. So.
Oh yeah, he just played up here.
Yeah,
locally.
He played
That's right. Yeah. That dude, all of our friends were up there. It looked insane. So
yeah, my brother had a group of friends go too.
Yeah, he was telling me about it, dude. When it's funny to think back, like you're like, yeah, I think I could do this. Like when you see somebody DJing, but if you see that energy, it's almost like, how could you not want to do that? Like
no, of course. And it's cool. It's not even only that. It's like. I like exploring and finding new music. I love going to shows. I love going to festivals, with a group of people, trying to find new artists, looking for new songs. So even seeing like different styles of house, different artists, like where they had been a few years ago to now, seeing them on bigger stages and, seeing people evolve, that's inspiring and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's cool to follow along on the journey to these guys. Like I'm like right now looking at Skrillex, like in what he's doing still, and with Fred again, of course, and then Fortet, like Skrillex in high school in our era, like that was huge for us. Like I remember Terrence, like he was bumping that all day. Love Skrillex, and
that was big back then too.
That was huge, and that was like when he was like dubstep, you know, and putting together crazy mixes. That was, I think, when I was still in high school, or maybe like the first couple of years of college. And now still to this day, I think it's, I'm interested to get your opinion on the scene, but like house music has really exploded.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, for sure. I feel like it's especially, I feel like it's the thing now, like all these promoters, I feel like are booking house artists. I feel like that's, I mean, like you look at Vegas, you see John Summit, you see, some of the house music artists getting booked at Marquee. Just like a bunch of those shows, so it's cool to see like where even like some major clubs have gone, and plus just the rise of dance music in general, where it was 10 years ago to now is just awesome to see. Even events like Coachella, there's so much dance music there. It's just, it's cool to see. It's cool to kind of be in it both as a fan and now trying to evolve as like an artist. It's just, there's inspiration everywhere. So it's awesome.
Yeah. It's probably cool to get the perspective from both sides now.
Yeah.
From watching, obviously being a fan, being in the crowd, and then now being in the booth, behind the board, spinning the sound. And so going back to those first shows that you were doing, these were at clubs when you first started playing?
Yeah. So basically what happened was, I started going out in Scottsdale, and Scottsdale's a big party scene. So just coming from, college into that scene, like there's just always a party going on. But I'm a big house music guy, so a lot of those clubs weren't playing house at the time. So we got into, actually last summer, me and my friends would sit around at the pool, listen to music. just kind of hang out, kind of brainstorm like, damn, we should try to put something together where like something different. And luckily enough, a new club was opening. They were kind of feeling out like what avenue they wanted to go down. I got connected through a mutual friend to the GM or the guy who was booking some of the talent there. And I got booked on Labor Day, threw a show there, got a ton of my friends to come. And then a week later, I'm sitting on the couch. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to brainstorm, throw an idea together, come up with like a little brand, and then just talk to this guy and see if we can throw a show or have a slot on a weekend. So first show I threw was like a week after Labor Day, and we blew it up. And then from there, it was just kind of like an ongoing thing. I didn't want to throw a show every week, but once every couple of weeks. And that's kind of where it started and snowballed into. So yeah.
Now, is this Illusions?
This is Illusions, yeah.
Yeah, because when I first saw this, now, well, going back, because when you said a lot of the times they weren't playing house music, like right. It's so crazy to think now, because just going back to the evolution of the scene, how big it is now.
Right.
And I'm not exactly sure what is responsible for that. There's like a bunch of different factors. Yeah. You got John Summit blowing up, becoming like super mainstream, super household, like Where You Are, everybody in the world knows that song. You got from, a lot of the DJs I've talked to, they talk about, I think it was maybe EDC 2012 or just that era 2012 of what electronic music was and then how it progressed. But there was a little bit of a gap in between then and now where it's just so big. And it's coming from my perspective of like having a bar and like turning into really a club, Reds in New Brunswick, which was crazy. But looking at the one concept we always talk about is that open format versus like artistry type sets. And open formats, I mean, it's like the most popular here in Jersey, obviously, but like the clubs, a lot of times they want that style. Even if it is house, they want something that people can relate to music-wise and like switching it up and switching the energy. And it is tough a lot of the times, going back to Illusions now, like in order for you to have an artistry type set or a set where you play strictly house, you have to create that event yourself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's open formats. That's how it is in Scottsdale too. So you get a lot of mixture between, hip hop, top 40 dance music remixes.
Top 40, baby.
But, nowadays, like there's house music being played for sure, but it's still open format, which is cool. Open format's a tough thing to do for a few hours. That is a tough gig to do. I know, like, I don't really branch off into too much of mixing that type of music, but, you got to give credit where credit's due, and being an open format DJ is another art. So, but yeah, going back to Illusions, that's what it really came down to. I wanted kind of like a place to not only DJ with kids I've met, in the industry that were also DJing, trying to throw events with them. But I also wanted to DJ too. And I thought, let's try to throw an event or bring something together where like, I could put myself on a little bit and then, bring people along who want to DJ too. So, having like an hour and a half to play just strictly house music or just strictly music I want to play. That was something that just came along with that. So. And
those guys that DJing with you, like how many people do you usually have on the lineup for that type of show?
Yeah, usually it's 3. Just because the club goes from 10 to 2. So it's usually like a 10 to 11:15, 11:15 to 12:30, and then the 12:30 to 2, depending on how you split it up. But usually it's all these kids around the industry in Arizona that are also trying to produce DJ. You just meet so many people, and like next thing you know, you become closer and put some people onto a show, and they throw a show they want to put you on. So it's fun to do. It's just like a fun thing to be part of, and have your own thing and also support other people. So
yeah, and it's not easy either. Putting together your own events is tough.
No, and luckily with the club too is they've been so good to me with giving me a spot to throw something. So they have their own CDJs, stuff like that. So I've kind of been very grateful that there's a place where I can throw it strictly.
And were you doing any shows prior to Illusions? Like, was there any shows leading up to that? Because now this is really just thinking about it. It's your own event. You put it on with these other DJs or whoever. Was there anything leading up to that, or you went right to that and started throwing them?
Yeah, no, that first booking, that wasn't one of my first booking at that club. Wasn't an Illusions, but 2 weeks later was the first Illusions, and then from there it was funny. The club wasn't open fully, and they used to put these drapes up and basically cut the club in half. And the first two events, or I think it was the first event, but the first event we actually had it in half, and the club was packed. So coming back to that second event, we convinced them to open up the full club, and basically from there on, the club was good. Every time we'd come in, the club was open, and we tried to pack it. We tried to sell the tables, and we had success doing it. So I think that's what allowed us to kind of continue to go.
Was promoting back in the college days something that helped you with that?
Yeah, I think definitely. Just like posting on social media. I've stayed kind of true to like kind of keeping it simple. Just have the 3 names on there, same size. It's more than anything, it's about, the type of vibe that you want to give off. Like, I want people to come in, dance, have a good time, meet new people, meet people that are similar to like the type of people I kind of hang out with.
Well, the community energy in those types of events, like just speaking in house music and electronic music in general, it's such a good energy. It's very welcoming to all. Like,
yes,
it's very
of course.
diverse. There's tons of people, all walks of life. People just come together enjoying that type of music. And that's why those are my favorite types of events. And that's why it's funny going back to the, versus the open format when you switch it up to hip hop and things like that. Yeah. We obviously grew up in New Jersey. When I started going out, obviously Jersey Shore, the greatest of all time. People trying to say it ain't elite. Listen, I see all of your comments. I know it is elite. I've never been wrong in my life. So there's nothing you could really do. If I say it's elite, it has to be. And if you say it isn't, then in turn you are incorrect. That's just the way it goes. But growing up in that and then going out, like, you experience really some of the top level nightlife because the Jersey Shore is just so powerful in the summer. Obviously, fall, winter, spring, it dies down. We all know this. It's cold, obviously. But in the summer, you're talking DJs, Bar A, Headliner, you got Osprey, Parker House. Those aren't my wing where I go to, but you still have it. You have Leggett's. I mean, Jenks now is crazy.
Yeah, Jenks is a hot spot, I've heard.
I'm sure I don't know if you've seen, but dude, that place is fucking juiced. Every fucking Saturday. Even, dude, Wednesdays they do country night. It's probably fucking packed.
Yeah.
Dude, and they get big names too. And I mean, just over the last couple of years, it really changed. The nightlife is changing, I could tell. Yeah. Going out is not the same exactly as it used to be, but coming up in that energy. And now I've since realized when, obviously becoming friends with a lot of DJs, I've learned and got better at like deciphering between that open format and artistry. I didn't, I had no clue back when it's music. So, and it's very niche, part of the music industry. So I learned about that and I see, but like, you go to DJs, they're firing electronic music all night.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, bangers. And I'm talking Martin Garrix. I'm talking bingo players. I'm talking like that era where it's just firing.
The horn going off.
Dude, Alesso calling. I mean, it is the anthem.
Staple.
It's the staple. And so, coming from that background, it was like when that was going off at Reds, I was like, let's keep hammering it. But then I started to realize you can't because when you have, unless it's one of those types of events that you've curated, because people want different types of music.
Exactly. Yeah, no, like an open format club it brings everyone, right? So, 20 people might want to come see or listen to some hip hop. 20 people might be looking for dance music. It's just one of those things where the crowd is so diverse in the music with an open format. For a house music event, you would like to hope that the 200 people that you might bring are all into house music. It's better for the vibe of the show. Everyone's dancing, grooving together. Everyone's on the same kind of wavelength. So yeah, I get that. But growing up, going out, freshly 21, maybe when I was under 21, that's a taste of like the high energy, especially around here in the summer.
Well, when that energy's flowing, and you know what I came to realize is when you have those songs that fall under the open format mix, like whether it's the genre is not house or electronic, like when you mix that in with an electronic beat or a house beat, like that really hits you.
Yeah, that is cool. I am very fond of seeing what people want to remix or the samples that people kind of pull out of certain songs. Yeah, hip hop. A hip hop house beat is awesome. Just like it's so cool to see some of these artists where their kind of mind goes and what kind of vibe. Each one has a different one. It's really cool to see. People pull samples from different types of music and then kind of loop it into their own style or sound.
Yeah, I think that's one of the better things about, because people always talk about how saturated it is now. When obviously when something takes off like that, like it attracts. I mean, again, if you watch a show, like how are you not going to want to do that, right?
Right.
But I think that's one of the benefits of bringing so many people into something like that, like house music in particular right now, hearing people's different creative thoughts through the music. Like the way people put certain songs, like Nicky Morgan did the Shook Part 3 last year. Dude,
awesome.
like...
And that song blew up too.
Oh my God, dude. Everywhere. That song was everywhere. And then when that hit, I was like, all right, I'm interested to see where it goes with... And again, hip-hop's been sampled in house music for a long time. It's all one.
Of course.
When you talk to all these artists, I know Jake Shore said that. A lot of the DJs I know from here said that. Like, they're into everything, and they get inspiration from everywhere. So one of the cool things I think about when a lot of people come into an industry is like seeing different people's creative process and their thoughts, and then how that translates into the music. And then you look at like Clooney sipping yak, right, to start the year. I mean, just that hip hop into that drop. I mean, it's crazy. And that's like one of the things that I like about it. What do you think about the fact that there's so many people coming into house music and electronic music now?
I mean, I think there's room for everyone, right? I mean, whether you're being a fan or trying to be like a DJ, or you're trying to be an artist, or looking to, evolve. I think there's room for everyone. It's just about I think it's about not giving up, kind of staying with the process. But, with the rise of dance music, and I think everyone is trying to throw events, right? Everyone's trying to bring people into the club, into their bar. There's so many places to go. So many places to see shows. So I think it's awesome to see more than anything. I know that maybe some people think it's oversaturated, but that's, people have opinions. Go experience it and see for yourself. I think a lot of the more times than none, you'll be taken in by it and have some fun.
Yeah, and it's more inspiration. And also one good point that I quoted him at the beginning, Mikey Baranici. He's a DJ down from Miami. And really good dude. And his episode is airing next week. And he was saying, it might sound crazy, but it's like, the DJ community, we're all one. So when more DJs come into the community or into it, that's more people that could possibly play my music because they may be a fan. So, yeah. And I said, I was like, in the long term, I think it's a better thing I think it's a good thing because the best of the best are still going to rise no matter what. It might take a little longer because there's so many people, but I've always been on that wavelength too, is no matter what it is, like welcoming to everybody. Like there's enough for everybody.
No, I don't. I honestly don't. I don't meet a lot of people in the dance music scene that aren't like genuine, nice, welcoming people. So, I mean, there's some outliers, but no, for the most part, everyone's welcoming. I think more than most people want to see people in the industry or that decide to work in the industry or perform in the industry. I think they want to see them succeed. So I think it's, there might be a few bad apples that are kind of hoping on your downfall, but that's just part of the game.
Yeah, it's just part of the game. That's right. You goddamn right. It's just part of the game, baby. So going to your music now, are you producing original music?
Yeah. So I guess in the last year, putting more time and effort into it, just trying to manage my time between working and then, DJing, and learning to produce. I was just saying to Andrew before, I have a remix that I'm finishing up this week, hoping to debut it at Splash House coming up in 2 weeks. And then I have an original track that's towards the end. I'm hoping to finish that, maybe not in time for Splash House, but within the next month or so. So, that's a process too. Sometimes I feel like I'm learning a whole different language, just using the Ableton interface. But learning to produce. Producing's coming along. So, it's an exciting time. It's fun to do.
So that started when? This past year, you said?
Yeah. So, last summer I put a little J. Cole edit out. just to see what I could kind of come up with, put together. J. Cole, some of his old tracks are some of my favorites. So yeah, I put something out. I got a lot of good feedback from it. Did pretty well on SoundCloud, and then yeah, just tried to put more time into producing. I want to make something that's a little more industry ready, that, you know, hopefully can get played by some of these DJs that are out touring. So yeah, that's a process that's coming along, but yeah, I'm excited for it.
Well, starting from scratch I mean, again, you take inspiration from other music, but like when you produce, you start from scratch. I mean, it's a brand new song, you know? So you have those mixes out, obviously, that is a blend of different songs, which is something that's very, like, here in New Jersey, a lot of the elite DJs that I know, they are doing those mixes that are just blending songs, and they put those out all the time.
Yeah.
And then you get to the level of producing, which is just a different sector, and it's like start from scratch and trying to, but it's cool, again, going back to like sampling things and how people pull certain samples in. And I think when you look at a lot of the songs that are originals or produced by people, it still is like sampled from something else.
Yeah, some of I've noticed that in the last like year or so, like a lot of the samples that are used in some of these original tracks are taken from something else. It's not necessarily a remix, but yeah, you get a lot of samples from other songs that are definitely pop up in these original tracks.
Now, when you sit down to make a song, this
Yeah.
is something that I'm always interested in, like the creative process of that start from scratch, basically from the beginning. How does it start? Like, where does the process start for you when you sit down? Where do you go?
Well, I'm a little weird. I like to make noises in my head. So whether
I think a lot of people do that too.
yeah. I'm making noises out loud too. So, but no, yeah. Sometimes an idea will come from like me making noises out loud in my head, and I'll be like, damn, I would like, even if it's like thinking of a bass line, sit down, try to recreate that on Ableton, try to put a little drum loop together. Sometimes, like, I have a bunch of friends, but you know, one of my friends would be like, this would be cool lyrics. Trying to put those together, put it on a bass line. So, you know, I take inspiration from everything. I keep saying that, but yeah, an idea. Sometimes I'll just sit on the computer and I'll just try to make a drum loop, try to make something interesting, and then you know, sometimes try to throw a vocal in on top of that. Or so there's a lot of different ways I kind of look at it, but you know, it always starts with a drum kick for me. So sometimes I'm just drum and bass line and then see where I could take it from there.
Yeah, because I relate it back to like doing videos and like making videos from scratch. When I'm in the gym, this is usually when it hits me the best, is when I'm in the gym, 400 milligrams of caffeine deep, just absolutely firing. And I'm in there, I'm getting a pump, I'm hitting chest and biceps, obviously, every single day. I'm a retired baseball player, so we're not hitting legs. And I just have the blood flowing and ideas, like a lot of the times it's interesting because for me, the inspiration will actually come from a song, which I'm sure also for you and for producers it does as well. But I'll hear a song and like an idea will just pop into my head because I think my mind's just racing and things are flowing. And like, for instance, I did the video that dropped my original merch, the first merch for the Reddcast this past year. And the original inception of the idea was I was lifting and late night by myself in Condons, which is when the best ideas come to me. And Cisneros song came on. He remixed the song by Rafa.
Good
Ritmo.
remix.
Oh,
Good remix.
Oh, dude, Gordo hammers in it every goddamn set. I mean, it's a banger. Yeah, but those trumpets, I used to play trumpet back in elementary school. First chair. What the fuck is good? But
let's go.
I heard the trumpets for the millionth time because I've listened to that song so many times. But just something sparked, and I was like, this would be such a funny idea or such a good idea is having me playing a red trumpet and then cloning that and having just an entire orchestra of myself playing the intro to Ritmo because the horns are so powerful.
I remember that video now.
So it was just like, yeah, and it starts with the news reporter, which was the second clip to come to mind, first clip of the video. Then it transitions into the Ritmo intro with all the trumpets and it just zooms out and it's 1,000 of me playing the red trumpet in the red leather jacket, certified. Grateful Grails, let's go, Andrew Habeeb. And then it goes into that, you know, the DJ scene, which is funny because I don't actually DJ, but just that energy I love. So we set up the booth and I was a DJ. But that's when the best ideas, I think, for me come, is when I'm like doing something like that. Everybody says the shower as well. If you're not singing in the shower, I guess that's where you're deep in thought and you're just thinking. But are there any times that you think your best ideas come from, or when you just think of something that sparks an idea in your head?
I would say just listening to music a lot of the time. I listen to a ton of music. So a lot of the time, like you said, sometimes I'm listening to a song and, I'll be like, oh, I want to put this in my mix, or, oh, I want to kind of make something of that style. Other than that, yeah, shower's a big one. I'm definitely in thought in the shower. Even just like if I'm taking a walk, I'll walk my dog, get a lot of inspiration, or I feel like my mind's clear then. Just thinking about like what I want to do, where I want to go, stuff like that. So, yeah, I get inspiration from just being almost with myself, with my thoughts, a lot of the time. But I would say listening to a ton of different music, I draw inspiration from that.
Yeah.
And going to see it. I get a lot of inspiration from going to see music. There's a whole nother level of appreciation when you listen to something on the headphones and you think it's good, and then you go see it live and it's on big festival speakers or, a good system. Yeah, that's a awesome feeling too. So
that system makes a difference.
Yeah.
I remember when we got the
System's
subs.
big.
Bro, when we got the subs at Reds, the first time Cisnero brought them, and they plugged in and started playing. Like, we were just doing speakers at that point where the DJs would bring their own speakers, set them up.
Yeah.
And then Cisnero brought this whole setup through our guy Emmett, and they had 2 subs, 2 speakers, it was an old system, but this thing fucking bumped. And we would just set it up in the middle of the dance floor back, and then it would be everybody in front of you just, it was crazy. But as soon as you hear something on a system like that, totally different.
Yeah, you need the sub. I'm a big
You got it.
big sub guy. Makes that ass move.
Dude,
So,
that just bumps, bro.
Yeah.
He just played HQ, and when you hear a sound system like that, that's where the difference is. And I guess when you're producing, you listen to a bunch of different, what do you got? The car, you got the headphones, you got a sound system in person. So are you listening to these things through all these different, methods?
Yeah, so I got like 2 monitors in my house, in the room I produce in, and then my friend actually has Sonos throughout the house, so that's also a good. I try to listen to him on that.
Dog.
I'll go into the car, more than enough. I listen in the car. There's a good system in the car, so yeah, I'll listen to everything. I'll listen on my headphones. I'll listen even on the phone speaker, on my Mac speakers, just without headphones. I feel like a lot of the times, like even with the bass, I'll listen on my Mac speakers and be like, okay, this sounds good on that. Go back into my headphones or go back on the monitor. So yeah, I try a lot of different ways, try to make stuff sound good or try to sound right in my head. I get some feedback from friends. It's a whole process, but it's so fun. It's so fun to try to come up with something, especially, we're very critical of ourselves and, or at least I'm very critical of myself, and I get a little self-conscious, but, I like trying to make something that people will enjoy and, hopefully playing it live at some of my upcoming shows, I can start to, let people hear what I've been working on.
Yeah, it's cool when you take an idea from the start, the inception of it, before it's anything, you get to that finished product. And then it's funny, in between that process, from the start to the finish, how many times you go back and tweak it, probably.
Yeah.
Videos, I go back and change something little. Like, even on podcast clips, it's like you add a keyframe of a zoom and then maybe a zoom or maybe a pullback. And it's like, there's so many different ways you can go with it, which is why the creative process is so interesting to me. And it's cool how it's just worked out organically that a lot of the guests I have on the podcast are DJs. The main goal was to do episodes like this, where it's like somebody I grew up with, a close friend, just catch up and see what they've been up to. And like, it's always cool when someone starts a new chapter or you didn't know they were doing something and then you find out and you get to hear about that part of the story. But the creative process, start to finish, and then you have that finished product, you bring it to light, and you get to see how it's, received by other people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And a song especially.
Yeah. Like, and you hear different things on different speakers, right? Like sometimes, on a different system, the bass might sound really, good, but listen to it or like in your headphones, it might sound good. You listen to it in the car. Oh, this doesn't sound as good as I thought. Like, there's just different things that you hear differently, on different systems or in your headphones. And then, yeah, it's a very, especially if you think you have something finished, right? And then you're like, okay, I want to change a lot of things in this. And then you're like, okay, I got to go back and do that. So it's, sometimes it's frustrating. I'll tell you what, it's one of those things that just like frustrates the hell out of you. Need to take a break. You know, I catch myself a lot of the times making something, getting it to a point, and then having to, you know, remove myself fully, maybe work on something else, and then try to revisit it if I want to, or try not to.
That's
or
a
just move
major
on.
key. Major key, dude. Just stepping away. Like you could just be, especially when like it's on a computer what we're doing. So we're looking at this screen, we're dialed in, like you catch that momentum, you catch that flow state, and then all of a sudden you hit a spot where you're like, I'm not really sure where to go. I found that when I'm not really sure where to go with something in terms of like a podcast clip of how I want to put it together or what I should do effect wise, stepping away and then coming back to it later. Sometimes you just open the laptop, I click play, and then I'm like, oh, this is done. Or I'm like, oh, let me just take that out. And you know, just that breather away from being locked in is like something that I found to be so huge.
Yeah, no, I can get stuck like I can get stuck for like 45 minutes listening to the same 16 bar loop. And you're like, where the heck am I going to go with this? And then, you come back to it and you're like, oh, this sounds better than I was really, really thinking. And it's, that's just part of the process. It's, you know, I keep saying it's just like so fun to see what you can come up with or see what you can create.
Is that the goal for the next year, or the main focus, I would say, is like continue to produce and get better at producing?
Just learn everything I can, kind of soak it in, just get better and better at producing, start to put music out, and play it at these shows. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm just trying to manage my time between work and this, and kind of keep my head down and focus and get to a point where I can start putting out music, getting booked more, and staying on this path.
In terms of the shows coming up for the next year, how is that like? How many shows are you looking to play? Are you looking to play one every weekend, or are you looking to just do your own events with Illusions?
Yeah, no. Right now, I have a few shows coming up. I have one in Palm Springs at Splash House, which is really exciting. I have a support gig for It's Murph at one of the local spots in Arizona at some bar in Tempe, and then just got booked for the Super Unnatural Festival that we were talking about before. That's in November, and then within those, I guess, breaks in bookings, you know, where I can throw Illusions. You know, I'd like to throw it in different places. Like when the weather gets nice, I'd like to try to find rooftops or try to throw something outdoors. So, yeah, just trying to plan accordingly around bookings and, try to find new spots to throw Illusions. You know, the club I was doing it at, they've come a long way. They're starting to book artists. So, you know, if they ever have something free, I'm in. If I can find a new place to kind of throw it once in a while, I'm into that too. So, yeah, I'm in like kind of that middle stage where, I'm just focusing fully on this other than with work. So
balancing the producing the music, doing the shows, plus work. Got a bunch of events on the schedule coming up, which is sick.
Yeah.
And then that leads right into 2025, which is crazy. We're in the latter half here.
I know. I'm pushing 30, but I feel like I'm 20. So
listen, we're back in time. When you're a DJ, first of all, you're definitely back in time. Reds New Brunswick sent me back in time. I was basically a Rutgers senior 3 years ago, 4 years ago, dude. 2020, 2021 went back in time, and one day we're gonna have to talk about when we have more time, because I know you got to get to the airport here. You're flying out tonight. If this weather holds up, I don't know if they can even hear the thunder rumbling in the background.
I wonder if I wonder if I'm delayed.
Yeah, you might be.
I hope not.
Because
we get in pretty late to Arizona, so I hope I'm not delayed.
What's the difference there? It's how many?
I think 3 hours right now.
3 hours?
So.
Yeah. So, well, I'm still hoping, where I thought originally we would first link after all these years was a show. I'm really hoping to get to a show. So hopefully I can get out there and get to one in Arizona. Once September starts, we got Red season on, but I'm going to really try to get out there and hopefully get to a show at some point in the future. And we'll definitely have to run the pod back and catch up even more, you know, when we have some more time.
Yeah, no, I got a ton of goals I want to try to get to. I want to try to play. I'm really trying to play outside of Arizona, you know, in that coming year for sure. I mean, I got connected to someone that put me on at Splash House, and that is like just took me back a little bit. I was like, wow, got my first out of state gig, on a pretty popular festival in the Southwest. So that was a big moment for me. And just from now, even from last year and then going forward, I just want to try to play in as many places as I can. Try to, connect with people, try to meet a ton of people. I love people. So,
well, dude, when someone meets you and they experience that energy, it's all time, dude.
Well, I appreciate that.
And as I said, wherever you go, whatever state it is, wherever the show is, obviously this first one coming up, Splash House, you said?
Yeah, Splash House.
Yeah, that's going to keep rolling. And then, like I said, the future showrunner of whatever you step into the building. That's it. Whatever arena you're in, you are the showrunner.
Got to bring the energy. That's what it's all about.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Damn, well, this was good. I wish we had a little bit more time, but we're going to run it back, obviously.
Yeah, we'll go again.
We'll go again. So it was good to hear the story, catch up a little bit, and find out where it all started and where it's come to now. Especially with the announcement just being this week, it's like cool to see all that in the progression,
No, and it's dope to see what you're doing too. It's kind of the same, just like putting people on, putting people on that you vibe with, you connect with. That's the name of the game. So
yeah, and this is, like I said, this is really, I love connecting with new people, as do you, which you just said. And when you do a podcast, a lot of the time the people, they're always wondering who the guest is. But for me, my favorite type of episode was always this type of episode,
right,
where I have friends who are going after something, or even if they're not going out, just catching up with a friend after a long time and finding out what they've been up to. And there's a bonus if they've been going after something and they've started to reach some big goals within that. But this type of episode is always going to be my favorite. And that was the point of the podcast from the beginning, was when I started it at Reds, was just to bring in regulars from the bar, bring in athletes from Rutgers, and just talk to these people that were coming into Reds regularly and highlighting what's going on in there. And then that's what I feel like with the Reddcast I'm trying to do the most, is highlight what all my friends who have made up what my life is to this point are doing. And then just catching up and finding out. And dude, the first viral clip was Jim Gallagher. The first one I had.
I remember.
The Bruce Springsteen story.
Yes, yeah,
how many times do we hear that story?
That is a great story.
Yeah,
that is a great story.
We've heard it for years. And it's so funny that clip is the first one to go viral. A lot of people going after big guests, whatever. And I'm just like, let's do our friends, find out what's going on. And then, of course, that one just validates the whole reasoning behind it,
Yeah, of course.
And, dude, well, thank you again. Best of luck with everything going forward this year. Good luck at all those shows. And I'm looking forward to see where it goes.
Thank you. You're the man. I appreciate it. Listen to the Reddcast, baby.
Let's go. Where can they find you on everything?
Just my Instagram, Tommy Toole. Just my name. So other than that, I run a little account called Illusions AZ. It's a little event. We're trying to build it up. And then, other than that, just all my socials was my name. So
fire.
Yeah.
Let's go. Awesome. Well, best of luck. Let's run
Cool.
it, baby. All
Love
day.
you, baby.
We're out.